Please marry my daughter tonight. But what about my daughter? Give me full custody, or the deal is off.
The can of soup was already open when the bell rang. Marcus Reed stood in his kitchen, spoon halfway to his mouth, staring at the Campbell's label like he had been staring at it for years. 8 o'clock on a Tuesday. The kitchen light buzzed. Ethan's sneakers lay by the mat, laces untied the way his mother used to leave hers before she died. The bell rang again. Marcus set the spoon down. He already knew it was not a neighbor. Neighbors did not come in black sedans at night. Neighbors did not send their driver to the curb to wait. He opened the door. A man his own age stood on the porch in a charcoal suit that cost more than Marcus's mortgage. Silver cufflinks, no tie loosened. Posture like a man who had been trained to stand even when the world was falling. Daniel Cole, the billionaire. Iron Cole, the newspaper man. Marcus Reed? That's me. I need to speak to you, alone, now, before you let anyone else into this room. Marcus looked at the sedan. The driver did not look at him. The headlights were off. The engine was running. Come in. Take off your shoes. Daniel nodded. He bent down and untied his shoes like a child in a stranger's house. He set them by Ethan's sneakers, side by side. An 8-year-old's kicks next to $12,000 leather. Marcus noticed. He did not say anything. He walked to the kitchen. He did not offer Daniel a chair. Sit. Talk. I have soup getting cold. Daniel did not sit. Instead, Daniel Cole, 12 years of empire, 300 million in liquid, 20 stories under his name, fell to his knees on the pine floor. Not a stumble, a surrender. Marry my daughter tonight, please. His voice cracked on the last word. Marcus did not move. If stories like this move you, hit subscribe and tap like before we go further. Because what happens next in this living room is something no man alive was prepared for. Marcus looked down at him. 12 years of unanswered questions. 12 years of small apartment bedrooms. 12 years of Christmas without a woman who deserved at least one more. All of it pressing behind his ribs like something ready to detonate. Say that again, Marcus said. Daniel lifted his face. His cheekbones were sharp. His suit was immaculate. His hands were shaking the way a doctor's hands shake when he has to say the word terminal. Marry my daughter, tonight, before sunrise. I will pay you anything. Name your price. Marcus set the soup can on the table. And if I say no? The billionaire's jaw trembled. Then she loses everything I built. The trust, the name, the house. By morning, the papers will have my name on them, and so will hers. I am asking you to take her into your family before the world takes her name away from her. Marcus walked to the kitchen counter. He put the can down slowly, the metal meeting the laminate with a small click. He pulled out a chair for himself. He did not offer one to Daniel. Sit up. Daniel did not sit up. I can't. Why not? Because if I stand beside you, I will remember what I did to you. Marcus stopped breathing. Outside, a dog barked 2 streets over. The clock ticked. Somewhere a television was playing the late news. What did you do to me, Daniel? The billionaire's eyes dropped to the pine floor. Marcus asked the question he had not asked any living soul in 12 years. Were you driving the car that killed my wife? The silence did not hold anything.
It held nothing left to lose. Daniel's mouth opened, closed, opened. Yes. The word landed on the pine planks like a body. Marcus did not move. His throat hardened. His vision narrowed. Every Christmas he had pretended was fine. Every Mother's Day he had walked past the cemetery pretending not to see. Every time his son, Ethan, had asked him what kind of car hit her, and Marcus had said, with the calm of a man who had rehearsed the lie so long it sounded like faith, "I don't know, son. The police never told me." Now he knew. "You killed my wife." "I killed your wife." "You drove away." "I drove away." "You let me bury her alone." "I let you bury her alone." "You have been alive this whole time, building towers, buying newspapers, going to galas." "Yes." "And tonight, you come to beg me for my son." Daniel's hands shook harder. "Yes."
Marcus sat down across from him. The kitchen light buzzed again. The pine saw smell was suffocating. Through the window above the sink, Marcus could see the small yard where his son had chased fireflies in mason jars, where his wife had planted tomatoes the spring she never got to see turn to fruit. The stalks had come up the year after she died. They had produced fruit no one had picked. Marcus had finally pulled them out in August because he could not watch them rot into nothing. He had kept one cherry tomato from that first year. He had pressed it between 2 pages of her Bible, behind the book of Ruth, where she used to read on Sunday mornings. He had not opened it in 11 years. "You are not asking me for my son," Marcus said, his voice very low. "You are asking me to forgive you." Daniel said nothing. "I cannot forgive you tonight." Daniel looked up. "I will not forgive you tonight," Marcus said. "But I am not going to let your daughter pay for what you did." Daniel's face crumbled. Marcus turned toward the hallway. Through the cracked door, he could see his son's bedroom. The posters of college teams, the textbooks stacked on the desk, the framed photo of his mother that Ethan had begged him to keep facing the bed, not closed in a box on a shelf. His boy had always wanted her in the room, not in something he had to reach for. Does Ethan know? No. Does Lily know? No. Are you dying? Daniel flinched. He had not expected that question. 6 months, maybe 4. Pancreatic. I found out 3 weeks ago. I have not told her. I have not told anyone. Tell anyone and they circle. The lawyers, the board, the vultures. By morning, I want her name off my chest. I want her safe. I want my sin off my name before I die. Marcus stared at him. You think marriage to my family erases a hit and run? No. Then what do you think it does? It buys her a clean man to stand beside her when the headlines break. Your name is clean, Marcus. Your son's name is clean. The court records in 3 counties will say Marcus Reed raised a son without a single mark against him. Mine is not. Marcus looked down at his own hands, the hands that had learned to braid a girl's hair for school plays, the hands that had carried his wife's casket 6 blocks from the church to the cemetery because he could not afford a hearse, the hands that had studied for the CPA exam at 2 a.m. so his son could go to college on a scholarship, not alone. He did not answer for a long time. Then he said the thing he had been holding behind his ribs since the funeral. If I take your daughter in, you do not get to die without telling my son the truth. Daniel looked up. You tell him yourself, before the wedding. You tell him face to face that you killed his mother. You let him hate you. You let him walk out of this room if he walks out. You let him curse your name in front of the woman he loves. And if he comes back, and only if he comes back, we stand together at that altar tomorrow morning. Daniel's chin trembled. And if he doesn't come back? Then your daughter marries my son anyway. But at least you will have done the one thing you should have done 12 years ago. You will have told the truth. Daniel whispered, He will never forgive me. No, Marcus said. He probably won't. But he will know who he is. And your daughter will know who she is marrying into. That is worth more than your name on her bank account. The clock ticked. Then Marcus asked, very quietly, Daniel, why didn't you turn yourself in? Daniel's eyes filled. Because I had a daughter. And I told myself, if I died in a prison cell, she would grow up with nothing. So I built her everything. I built a kingdom so she would never need a father. And the whole time I was building it on a woman's grave. The sentence hung in the kitchen air like smoke. Marcus stood, walked to the hallway, knocked twice on his son's door. Ethan? A sleepy voice inside. Yeah, Dad? Come out to the kitchen. Bring Lily with you. A pause. Now? Now, son. Footsteps, soft. 2 pairs. Ethan came out first. 18, tall. His mother's jaw. His mother's laugh lines in the corners of his eyes. He stood in the doorway and saw Daniel Cole, the man whose holdings owned half the downtown skyline, sitting on the floor of his father's kitchen like a child whose dog had just been hit. Lily came behind him. 17, smaller. Her father's cheekbones, her father's eyes. The same hands, the same way of holding the shoulders when she was scared. She looked from her father to Marcus to her boyfriend. She did not know what, but she knew that something had finally cracked. Marcus looked at his son. Boy, sit down. Ethan sat. Ethan, 12 years ago, when you were 6, you asked me who hit your mother, and I told you I did not know. Tonight, I found out. Ethan's face changed. I want you to look at this man, and I want you to listen to what he says. Not for me, not for forgiveness, for her. For the mother whose picture you kept facing your bed because you told me once, the year you turned 10, that you wanted her in the room with you. Ethan's eyes lifted to Daniel. Daniel opened his mouth. His voice came out broken. I killed your mother. Ethan's face did not move for a long time. Then his eyes went to his father. You knew? I did not know until tonight. You sat across from him? I sat across from him because he came to beg. Ethan stood up. The chair scraped the floor loud enough to hurt. Lily reached for his hand. He pulled it away. Don't. Ethan, do not touch me. Your father is a murderer. Lily flinched. Ethan walked out the back door. The screen slammed shut. The kitchen fell silent the way a house falls silent when the only light bulb has burned out. Daniel buried his face in his hands. Marcus did not move. Marcus looked at Lily. Lily, go after him. Tell him I never knew. Tell him if he wants to walk out of this house and never come back, that is his right. But you go now, because he should not be alone. Lily nodded. She wiped her face with the heel of her hand and slipped out the front door. Marcus watched her go. "You did not have to let her go," Daniel whispered. "Yes, I did. She is going to be his wife. She needs to learn how to stand next to him when the world is on fire. Tonight is lesson 1. After what felt like a year, Marcus said the only thing he could say. "Stay here, both of us. I am going to go talk to my son." He stepped out onto the small porch. The yard smelled like cut grass and the neighbor's dryer vent. Ethan's shoulders were shaking in the dark. The same shoulders Marcus had carried on his chest when the boy was 3 and would not sleep unless he heard his father's heartbeat. Lily was sitting beside him on the steps. She had not touched him. She had not tried. She was just there, the way his mother used to be, just there at the end of every hard day, until the boy was ready to be looked at. Marcus sat down on the other side. "Boy?" Ethan did not look up. "I know you are angry." "I hate him, Dad." "I know." "I want him dead." "I know." "And you—" Marcus flinched. "You always told me to be the man Mom would have wanted. How do I be that man now, Dad? How do I love his daughter when her father took my mother off this earth?" Marcus put his arm around his son. "You do not love his daughter because of him. You love her because of her. And the man your mother would have wanted you to be, that man does not punish the daughter for the father. That man does not burn the next generation to punish the last one. Your mother used to say every single Sunday at breakfast, 'Don't ever let someone else's sin stop you from becoming who you were meant to be, Ethan.' You were 4 when she said that. You did not understand it, but she meant it for this night." Ethan cried the way men cry when there is no one left to perform for. His whole body, his whole childhood, his whole unanswered 6-year-old question, finally answered. Finally too late. Lily did not move. She stared at her hands. Marcus held his son. When the boy finally breathed again, Marcus said, "There is going to be a wedding tomorrow morning. If you want, son, you do not have to stand beside him. You do not have to forgive him. You do not have to take his hand. You can stand 5 feet away from him for the rest of your life and still be the better man. But let her marry you. Please. Because 12 years ago, I lost the woman I loved. And I will not let my pride take the woman you love from you too." Ethan was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Dad, if I do this, he has to live long enough to confess to a court. He does not get to die and skip out." Marcus's eyes filled. "I will make sure of that. I will drive him to the courthouse myself." "And he has to say her name." "He will say her name." Ethan looked at Lily. "And Lily, she has to know, before she stands up there. She has to know whose house she is walking into." "She knows now," Lily said, without raising her head. "Lily Cole did not come in here tonight." Ethan looked at her for a long time. Then he wiped his face. He stood up. Inside, Daniel lifted his head when the screen door creaked. Ethan walked in. He did not look at Daniel. "Lily?" She looked up. "I love you. I do not forgive him. I may never forgive him. But I am going to stand beside you at sunrise. And if your father runs before he sits in front of a court, I will hunt him down myself." Tell him that. Tell him my mother has a name. Tell him she used to sing in church on Wednesdays. Tell him she liked strawberries, but hated the seeds. Tell him I want a stranger to know her name because he made sure no one ever would. Lily's eyes filled. She nodded. Daniel looked at Marcus. Marcus nodded. Daniel whispered, "I'll confess." "You will confess," Marcus said. "You will publish it. You will go on the news. You will say her name out loud, the way I never got to. I will say her name." They were silent for a long moment. Then the clock struck 11. Marcus stood. "There is a justice of the peace 4 blocks from here. The boy can drive. Lily, do you have your ID?" "Yes, sir." "Then let's go." Daniel stood slowly. His knees cracked. His suit was wrinkled. His eyes were swollen. Marcus walked to the front door. He picked up his son's sneakers from the mat. "Tie them," he said, looking at Ethan. Ethan knelt and tied them. Outside, the sedan waited. The streetlights flickered. The stars were out. Daniel looked at Marcus one more time before he stepped onto the sidewalk. "Marcus, why didn't you kill me tonight?" Marcus looked at him. "Because if I had, your daughter would have had to bury her father before she became my son's wife. And I have already buried one wife in this house. I will not bury another." Daniel's chin trembled. They drove to the justice in silence. The streets were empty. The windows of the office building were dark. Only the second-floor lamp above the justice's door was on. At 11:47 p.m., in a small office that smelled like coffee and floor wax, Lily Cole became Lily Reed. Ethan did not hug Daniel. Daniel did not try to hug him. But as the justice said the words that would still hold weight long after the headlines broke, Ethan held his wife's hand, and Daniel stood 5 steps behind his daughter, and Marcus watched the only son he had left in the world do the thing his mother would have done. Daniel took a step forward. "Before we go," he said, "I want to say something in this room." Marcus looked at him. "Her name was Tanya Marie Reed. She was 29. She sang in the church choir on Wednesdays. She liked strawberries, but she hated the seeds. She never got to see her son grow up. She never got to tear up the tomato vines in August because I took her away before the first fruit came in. And I am the reason. There is no excuse. There will never be an excuse. I am telling this to a justice of the peace today so that one day, when I am standing in front of a judge, the name will still be hers, and the shame will still be mine." Ethan did not move. Lily cried quietly. Marcus did not cry. He had cried enough for one night. He said, "Thank you, Daniel." Daniel looked at him. "You did not have to say that." "Yes, I did. For her." They left the office. In the car, Ethan reached into his jacket and took out a folded piece of paper. He handed it to Marcus. "What's this, son?" "It is Mom's name. From her funeral. The only paper I kept." Marcus unfolded it. Tanya Marie Reed. He read it 3 times. He folded it. He put it in his wallet behind his driver's license, where he would have to feel it every time he paid for gas. "Thank you, boy." "You're welcome, Dad." When they pulled up to the duplex, Marcus sat in the car for a long moment after everyone had gone inside. He looked at his wallet. He did not open it. He did not need to. The weight of the paper was heavier than any check he had ever carried. He went inside. He went to the kitchen. He found the Bible he hadn't opened in 11 years. He turned to the book of Ruth. He took out the pressed cherry tomato, hard as a marble, still red, still bound to the page where his wife had last read about a woman who stayed when she could have walked away. He set it on the counter beside the can of soup. By morning, it would not be there anymore. By morning, there would be a wedding. By morning, there would be a sunrise. By evening, there would be a phone call from a lawyer. And after that, there would be a court date. And after that, there would be a name spoken out loud in a room full of strangers. And the stranger would not know who Tanya Marie Reed was. But Marcus would. At sunrise, they stood in the backyard where Tanya had planted tomatoes 12 years ago. The dirt was the same dirt. The morning smelled like cut grass and dew. There was no priest. There was no pew. There was no choir. There was only a justice of the peace, 2 neighbors as witnesses, and the same stars that had been out the night Tanya died, turning slowly into morning. Ethan was in his school shoes. Lily was in a dress her mother had laid out the year before, in case. The dress still fit. When the justice said, "You may now kiss your bride," Ethan kissed his wife, looked at the man who had killed his mother, and said, loud enough for everyone in the small yard to hear, "My mother would have wanted you to live long enough to say her name in front of a judge. I will be there when you do." Daniel closed his eyes. Lily slipped her hand into her father's. Marcus watched his son become the man his wife had always known he would be. And somewhere in the front row of his heart, the woman he had buried 12 years ago stood up and nodded. The question Marcus asked that night did not bring his wife back. It brought her son home. If this story moved you, tell us in the comments what you would have done if you were Marcus. Would you have let her marry him?